Most people have heard the story of the Tower of Babel. A massive tower built by humans who wanted to reach the heavens. Then suddenly, their languages were confused, and they were scattered all over the world. But was this a real event? Or just an ancient story with a deeper meaning? Let's take a closer look. The story comes from the book of Genesis, chapter 11. It says that at one time, the whole world had one language. People settled in a land called Shinar, and they decided to build a city and a tower that would reach the sky. They said, "Let's make a name for ourselves so we don't get scattered." But according to the Bible, God wasn't happy. He came down, saw what they were doing, and decided to confuse their language. Suddenly, they couldn't understand each other. The construction stopped, and people scattered across the earth. That's where the name Babel comes from. It sounds like the Hebrew word for confused. On the surface, it sounds like a warning against human pride. People tried to build their way to heaven. In response, they were humbled. But many scholars believe this story is more symbolic than literal. It's what's called an origin story, or an etiological myth. These types of stories try to explain how certain things in the world came to be, in this case, why people speak different languages. So the Tower of Babel might not be about a physical structure at all. It could be a way to talk about culture, power, pride, and diversity. There is no direct archaeological proof of the Tower of Babel as described in the Bible. However, some experts believe the story may have been inspired by a real structure. In ancient Babylon, modern-day Iraq, there was a huge ziggurat known as Etemenanki. It was a stepped tower built to honor the god Marduk. Some think this ziggurat might be the original idea behind the story. The Bible even describes the builders using bricks and bitumen. That's exactly how ancient Mesopotamians built their cities and temples. So while we may not have the tower itself, parts of the story do match historical details from that time and place. Not everyone agrees on how to interpret the Tower of Babel. Some believe it's just a myth. Others see it as a reflection of real events, like the growth of cities, the rise of empires, and the development of different languages. There's also a spiritual side. Many religious thinkers see the story as a warning about pride, control, and trying to live without boundaries. It's not just about building tall structures, it's about how humans use their power and whether they respect the limits of their role in the world. One of the most powerful parts of the Babel story is its message about unity and division. People started off united with one language, one goal. But their intentions weren't pure. They wanted to elevate themselves, not. Second, the story warns us about ambition without purpose. Building something big isn't bad. But when the goal is just to prove ourselves, it can collapse quickly. And finally, the Tower of Babel asks us to reflect. What are we building in our lives? And are we doing it for the right reasons? Whether you believe the Tower of Babel was a historical event, a myth, or a mix of both, it continues to speak to the human story. About pride, purpose, language, and how we connect, or disconnect, from each other. In the end, maybe it's not about the tower at all. Maybe it's about how we live, work, and speak to each other today. This is the fact order.